What's up, everybody? How are you
Hey.
doing? Welcome to Pipe Up!
Welcome, team. How's everyone going?
Oh my gosh, it's
Hey.
been so long.
It's been a while,
Do
hasn't
you
it?
know when our previous episode was?
When was that? No. Oh dear.
It's been a moment. It's been a
Yeah.
moment.
How are you?
So we have
There's
a
a
lot
bit
to
to-
talk about.
We do.
We have lots to talk about. So we've kind of been talking about it over the last week or so that we have something large to announce. We're not going to jump straight into it. I'm going to just make you guys wait for a minute. How you been, Jeff?
Look, I'd be lying. I don't like defaulting to the answer that I've been busy. Busy. Because I mean, everyone says that. I've been busy. But like legitimately, I think you'll agree. It's just been a busyness, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's I think like June and July. There's probably been maybe 1 or 2 days out of the 2 months that we haven't like been doing work things to some degree, which is pretty standard when you know love what you do. But
And I think it attests to the fact that I suppose you and I, as well as being not. Oh, you okay?
Yeah.
Not yourself, but myself. I am an employee. I'm a full-time employee at a company, but also a PT running a small business. Whereas yourself, you've shifted to the whole content creator small business model.
Yeah,
Which,
I mean, and you're kind of a talent manager to a degree as well.
Oh yeah, look, I've got a wardrobe full of hats that I wear at certain times. So I mean, yeah, like management. There's also the agent negotiation of stuff as well.
Yeah.
Hey, how's everyone going in chat, by the way? Sorry, I neglected to say hello there.
Yeah, we if we haven't, I mean, there's probably a lot of people here that are in the chat that haven't been to a Pipe Up live before. So if you haven't been here, we tend to, I mean, we read the chat, but it's not, something that we engage with a whole lot while we're doing this. It's more, it can add to the conversation in specific parts. And this is one thing that we did want to announce live because it is something that, how long would you say this has been kind of in the back end, I guess?
the news that we're speaking about.
Yeah.
Let me think.
Like February.
Yeah. Since then, I think it was since the first actual holiday that either of us had taken.
Yeah.
In a long time, which kind of incepted the idea there. So.
So I guess I'm so nervous. I'm dying. I'm dying because this is like, okay, so what we're gonna talk about, I guess it's gonna open up an aspect of private lives that we've not really spoken about, I suppose. Which for me, I've been in the content creator game for many years, since 2012, and a lot of my life has been, private and not on the internet. Some things have and they didn't go so well, and that led to complications. So like a lot of it was just like, you know what, this is my private life and I'm not going to share it with the internet. But now obviously what we're going to talk about is going to open up. And I'm not pregnant, all right? Don't even, I know people are probably like, oh my God, whenever a woman has news, it means she's pregnant. I'm not pregnant. It's not what it is. We know, I don't think anyone would think that actually, because everyone knows how much I hate children. I don't hate them. I like cats more.
So there's 4 more cats. That's the news.
It's not another cat. So yeah, I guess it's gonna be bringing our stream community into a new pocket of a more private part of our lives, I think.
And I think that ties into the busyness we were talking about there, where by the small businesses that we run, there's a very, and you've said this before on your stream, there's a very difficult blur to manage sometimes between work and private or personal time. So that work-life balance, which is so important for everyone, especially, I suppose, topical at the moment, working from home, the lockdowns we're going through in South Australia here, where I mentioned it this morning because now I used to actually work in a different office in the house when I was doing my work. And then if I wanted to come work out or play a game, I'd come down to this setup here. And I've shifted now because it's actually much nicer to work on this setup. But I found myself this morning coming in here and going, I've just been staring at this same room for the last like 4 days straight. And it's kind of in my head now. So
you can kind of relate with people that are like struggling to have that work-life balance when you're, and I face it all the time because my fun space is my workspace, and I'm like, I want to play games, and I kind of would love to have like a fluid setup that I can move anywhere, so that if I do want to play games off stream, I'm not in my workspace, because then it can feel very like samey, especially with lockdown when you've only got so many rooms in the house that you're allowed to be in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I suppose that's where we've been speaking about how busy we've been, because the lines blur between the personal time and the work time, especially for you when your work involves actually being having your time exclusive to Twitch and to chat. Where if there's a company that wants to actually chat to you or wants to do work with you and they're trying to make contact, that kind of has to wait until you're not live anymore. So you turn the cameras off, you go offline, but then you have to still do all of that sort of business admin communication type work as well.
Yeah.
Which is similar for me.
I can do it like, on a laptop or whatever, but the way that I've got my setup, it's so like it's designed in such a way that it makes my productivity better. So it's like I could go and do my stuff on a laptop with one monitor, but I've got 3 monitors perfectly placed to be like super productive and get it done quickly. So I'm like, well, I may as well just do it in here because it's going to happen much faster. But then, I get that like work. Yes. Work brain.
Which I suppose is something that should be looked at. It should be addressed. And one thing that from this morning's chat about me looking at the same room, it'd be hard for you to do this, obviously, but for me, the idea was birthed there that maybe I just set the lighting to a different color during work hours. So I have it like that fluorescent kind of cool white blue, and then when it's party time, I turn the lights on. Yeah. That's it. So those sorts of things. That's what we've been doing. I suppose we can't talk too much about certain things because there are non-disclosure agreements involved. But how have you been? How have you been during lockdown?
Can we just do it? Because I'm dying.
All right. Yeah. You're tired. I can hear you coughing and spluttering and stuff. You're dying. All right.
I've been pretty good. Nah, but in all seriousness, like lockdown for me, I feel really lucky to be in the position that I'm in because it doesn't affect me really. Like the way it affects me the most, it's not being at home, it's not being confined to my setup or anything. It's more constantly having and I totally understand because a lot of us don't have anything else going on. So like the topic of conversation often becomes lockdown. But for me, I try and I've been trying to do it more over the last week because it's just, I've started to become aware of it's really becoming a lot. Trying to shut down those conversations in the chat when we're trying to just provide a fun space so people can not think about lockdown for 5 seconds because we are all going through this and we have all been doing it for almost 2 years now. It's okay, I get it. I want to be sympathetic. I try to like move the conversation to Discord where I can deal with it later, because I don't want every second of my stream to be like, oh man, lockdown. Oh, it's just like, it's fucking depressing, and I don't want to think about it all day, every day, and constantly taking on everyone's like emotions as well. Like, I'm not a psychiatrist. I don't want to be like absorbing all these, you know, not necessarily negative, but just, you know, people are having a shit time, and if everyone in chat's having a shit time, then I kind of have a shit time, and I don't want to constantly be taking on that energy. And it's, I think I underestimated how much it started to affect me until I
one aspect you have to take into account as well is that they're not necessarily coming to dump it on you. It's just the fact that because people are locked down, they're not doing anything else interesting in their life. So there's nothing to talk about. So the first thing that comes to people's minds, especially in Twitch, which is it's a safe haven for the for people with higher social anxieties. That's probably the best way of putting it. That there's not a lot of people with the sort of creative brains to come up with crazy, interesting topics right off the top of your head. Yeah. So that's why the weather is often the thing that comes up, because again, it's right in front of you and it's very easy to start a... Yeah. So it is difficult, and it does become grating. And I know, like if you're thinking about someone that's in chat, maybe you've come into a stream and you're there once or twice a week, whereas you yourself, Grace, you're there every day of the week, and so you're getting different people asking the same questions. So it does feel like that you or I, even in my streams there, we're taking on a lot of the same stuff, but for the end user, it's kind of them just making a conversation, so it's very hard. It's
hard for me as well, like, even, and I've kind of been trying to gravitate towards content that kind of does it for me, like, so I don't have to come up with anecdotal, stories and things, because I'm also not doing anything. Like, I'm not going out traveling and going to events and having really fun experiences and stuff. Like, we're all just here hanging out at home and nothing really happens. So, like, I have been leaning on, more story heavy games, or things like doing the GT Sport, because it's kind of like no-brainer content, and wanting to do reading streams and things like that, where I can kind of lean on narratives to kind of create that content for me, so that I'm not having to really lead the conversation, because I also am kind of like, it's not a whole heck of a lot going on apart from COVID. So yeah, it's hard.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, it's I suppose it's forcing us to be a little bit more creative. If we're talking about the streaming side of things, I'm having to try and not recycle too much body weight stuff every single day. I'm trying not to recycle too much content there. And I mean, I do miss doing the streams with all of this fancy gym equipment behind me, but I am trying to keep in mind that some people might actually get a bit offended or a little bit upset when they don't have access to their old gym. But
you gotta like push yourself too, because your training's gonna be stagnating because you're working for everybody else, right? Like,
and it has, it definitely has, and that's just over the last couple of years.
You're just too nice. You just gotta flex on it and be like, I'm gonna deadlift today, and you can all just watch.
I'm just gonna have Hulk mode 100%. No, so okay. Did you want to change the overlay now? You want to hit the next? Yep. All right.
Do
next one. Announcement.
No,
you do it. I
pressed the button and I called it the thing.
Well, you got to say it now.
So, as some of you know, I forgot that I called it that because I was going to announce it before I pressed the button. As some of you know, it was coming up in like 6 to 7 months, 8 months, that I was going to have to move house. And we started looking, right? And obviously as creators, as you have FFP in your space and I have a massive office, or I don't currently have a massive office, but I'm taking up basically 2 bedrooms in this house. One area is the green area and this is a whole bedroom. So there's no guest rooms or anything. So it's not the best setup. So, we started looking around, seeing what was out there, either like for a new rental or maybe buying something. And options seemed very limited for our very specific needs. So you want to take it?
So it was, I suppose, I don't know how much of the story is. There are some relevant bits to the story where kind of we took a few days off of work because we hadn't really when we thought about it, we hadn't really taken any time off of work for years.
Like never had a holiday.
Ever, just to stop and turn everything off. And during this time there were a lot of I don't believe in kind of like, universal signs and things like that generally, but there were so many little dominoes that fell into place during this time off, involving people that we know, people that have been a part of both of our lives for a while, and it just seemed that like everything kind of fit together to be able to, I suppose, make a big investment into the both of our future is the big way of saying it. So taking that into account, the fact that we both have quite specific needs for our businesses and the way that we operate, Grace taking up 2 bedrooms and me taking up 2 car spaces in a car hole here. I suppose what's happened is now the process, like Grace said, started in February,
Mm-hmm.
and everything's kind of been moving along. But we're at the stage now where it's pretty much that time where we can announce there's a property involved. So it's basically
We're building a house, you guys.
building. Sorry, you're done. We're building a house. We're building a house. Now I don't know if it's just a house.
It's not. Just
it's
a
hard
house,
to
no.
it's hard to call it just a house, right? It's
We're building a. I don't even know what you would call it.
I'm legitimately calling it an investment into the business. It's like a capital purchase even. It's a place of residence, number one.
Yeah. A private domicile.
Domicile, there you go. No, so what it's doing is obviously your specific needs for your stream setup was that's kind of paramount because, like, I suppose working from home, it's got to be set up for that. So there's that in mind. So bigger room. I'll let you speak in more detail about what you've got planned for your area.
Yeah.
But the other aspect of it is number two, myself. Number one, I suppose, 2A, we've got the streams that I do in the morning. So having that area set up with cameras, lights, etc. But 2B is the fact that I'm training people from a private studio space. And you've experienced this, Grace.
It's so squeezy.
Yeah, when I have 4 people in here doing a workout, gets a little bit squeezy, especially if I'm starting to think about things like getting a treadmill, just getting some more equipment in here, dumbbell racks, etc.
Yeah. What it's at now, we're like, we want to get this thing, but like, where the frick is it going to go? Because it's already chock-a-block. And if we have 2 people is okay, 3 is squeezy, and 4 is just like open the garage and
open
go
the garage
outside
door
because there's not enough space at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, this is where it's been a long time in the works because it is very, very custom designed. The stuff that we've been through back and forth is, I suppose, me just talking about the FFP space and the gym space. It's not just a car hole. Actually, it's not going to be a car hole at all. If it were to be a car hole, you could fit
3,
4.5. You could fit 4.5 cars in it, plus an outdoor area. So I'm talking monkey bar rig. I'm talking an outdoor sled track. We're talking about multiple cameras when we're thinking about the streams, and then also just the ability to have up to, I would say, and this is even with COVID 1.5 meter restrictions. 1, 2, 3. You could have 4 people working out comfortably there. In that one. So group sessions, plus if it was to have the driveway being used as well, that would be like actual boot camp spec in the property. Yeah,
I can't wait to see that space. It's gonna be so sick. We do have other plans for that portion as well, but just getting a ute.
Ute.
Things that we can't talk about, but we've obviously, this has been like, we've been planning this for months and months and months, so there's been so much going on in the background, but like, the FFP space already is like so unique, and one thing that has been positive to come out of COVID is obviously how much FFP has just flourished and how many people you have been able to help across the last 18 months, 2 years or whatever.
It's been a journey.
It's just going to be even better like in that space. And I think, you're already training how many people in person? Like 6 people a week?
Yep, and that's simply because I can't take any more on.
You literally like need to sleep.
I need to sleep. I've got that day job as well.
Yeah.
So that's another part of the discussion. The transition there as well, the day job where, look, things are looking up now. This is really big news, and thank you so much to everyone for the congrats that's coming
my
through.
whole chat was just parties.
It obviously does reflect the fact that we have been knuckling down and working, and it's definitely not an indicator that we've reached a pinnacle of what
we're so wealthy.
We're
about to. This is the first time I'm ever like entering debt, so I'm terrified, especially in the industry that I'm in. It's kind of different for me because I've set up my stream in a way that like it's not reliant on sub count, because it fluctuates so much. But it's it's gotten to a point where I do kind of feel semi-comfortable entering this kind of thing, which I never thought as a streamer I'd be a homeowner, and I'm not yet, and like the loan's not approved and stuff yet, so we're still kind of early days. But yeah, it's
I'm actually expecting that email to come through today.
I know.
I'm looking at my inbox right now. It's yeah.
It's crazy for me to think that, and having just celebrated the anniversary, it's also feeling very surreal that, in 5 years of being a Twitch partner, I've managed to build a place for me here as a creator and get it to a point where I do feel comfortable, building a house, which isn't something I never, ever thought. And for me, like from my side of the content, obviously we've spoken about what it means for FitForPurpose. I'm trying so hard to not. So as I said, currently in the house that we're in, and the reason we have to move is our friends are coming back from Canberra who own this house, and they're going to start a family and they're going to move in, and it's just going to be wholesome. I'm like, okay, so now it's time to like think about our futures. So currently I'm taking up 2 bedrooms. Basically my new office is going to be, it's classed as like a theater room. So it's going to be basically the size of like 2 bedrooms put together. So this space will probably look kind of similar in the new place. There's not going to be a big window behind me. So like we've designed it in a way that it's still got a window placed in a certain spot. But this setup, I think we've kind of perfected this setup pretty much. So that it's going to be like relatively similar. But the good thing is, because I'm not going to have a wall between it, I will be able to have my green space on the other side so that I can cut to virtual reality whenever I want, or I can run over and do some stupid, scenes with green screen. And it's just going to open up so many more content capabilities for me, where I've felt a little bit, hamstrung by the space that we're in, and like cat cam can be close by and like all that kind of stuff. Like it's just, we've designed it in a way that it's going to really like help the content evolve. And also the house is kind of going to be, business downstairs, and then upstairs is going to be kind of like, balance retreat kind of area. I'm not going to show you guys the floor plan or anything, but no. It's going to be designed in such a way that like the front of the house is kind of like, business time. It's sealable, it's lockable. So if clients are coming in and out for Jeff's fitness stuff, they're not going to have access to the house, and it's all going to be very private. So, yeah, I'm just really excited to have, and the internet's going to be amazing. I'm just really excited to have a bigger space, because I felt like, VR's been kind of complicated anyway because of DMCA and stuff, but just having, more freedom to kind of roam around and use the green space and change up the setup a bit and be a bit more fluid, I suppose, with it, with wireless stuff. And
well, not even wireless, I suppose. And it's come up in the chat over here as well. Absolutely everything we're looking at from the ground up as being a content creation space, as a studio. Like you said, it's going to look like a studio. The way that both of our setups are, you guys get a glimpse of the 16 mil focal point lenses that we've got here. But you know what? You move them across to the side and you see what goes on in the background. But with a proper studio, like in a TV studio, you've got a set, you've got a lounge room built there. They've got the kitchen, which is like 2 meters to the other side of it, or on the other side of the lounge room. So you can then actually create a lot of content with just a little bit more space and some fancy camera angles. And then also the networking side of things, we won't have to rely on wireless as much, because things will be cabled and just so much.
That was something as well. Like if we were to buy a property, it would be like, okay, we're going to buy a property, then we're going to knock this wall out. We're going to have to add 100 bloody PowerPoints. We're going to have to add these things. We're going to have to take out these lighting. It's like, it's just, it honestly made more sense.
Yeah, when you design a place, you do actually have a server room in it. So just that sort of fun stuff. Yeah.
My Spotify keeps pausing because it's like Discord's like, we're transmitting a voice, so you're not allowed to have Spotify open.
That's why I don't do it. I haven't got it. My cheeks have been doing an isometric contraction for 30 minutes now due to the massive smile on the face.
I thought you meant twitchy face.
No. It's just the smiles. Just the smiles.
Yeah.
Because you're exactly right. We can go from 3 cats to 6 cat household now.
We're getting a dog. We are getting a dog. I want a dog. I've always wanted a dog, and I was like, I'd never get a dog until I own a house. Now it's gonna fucking happen. We get a dog eventually. Yeah, so that's so a lot of the I think I talked about at the end of the 12-hour stream. Maybe it makes a little bit more sense now by like, you know, maybe Jeff and I have been a little more highly strung lately than maybe a little earlier in the piece. And, you know, it's just, yeah, it's a massive undertaking. And I feel like even without that, like we've been so busy, but, you know, we're adding that on top. You know, I think we've walked through 500 display homes trying to get inspiration, take photos and organizing it. And, you know,
how about your blisters, Grace?
Oh my God. I wanted to look fancy. So I wore these stupid, massive high heels because I was like, I want to look rich so they take me seriously.
So I'm a serious buyer.
I wore like a blazer and like these big high heels, and then I walked around hoses. Walked around a bunch of display homes, and I was like, my feet, I can't walk anymore. Why didn't I wear my Vans? So yeah, we've looked at so many freaking. They all just start looking the same after a while. Just like, oh my God, I can't look at any more freaking houses, killing me.
Yeah,
and
I suppose the other thing to say I should mention as well is this is
jumper around the neck tied up.
I have built a house in the past as well, so the process of building a house, I know a few of you in chat have done this before, but there are a lot of people out there that actually just it's a completely unknown process. People don't know, and like you said as well, Grace, you kind of thought in the beginning that this sort of thing would be completely unobtainable, just out of your reach, and not a possibility in the realm whatsoever.
I think as well, just to cut in, like that's kind of one of the good things about living in Adelaide. It is obtainable. Like if this was Sydney, there's no fucking way we could do what we're doing.
Oh, definitely not. Absolutely
not. We would be
unless
building a 1-bedroom apartment.
Yeah.
It would not be possible.
It'd be halfway up a hill in the Blue Mountains because that's the first affordable area kind of thing.
Like we're super fortunate here in Adelaide that, you know, homes are, it is on the rise, but it's still obtainable, you know.
So yeah, this isn't the first place that I've built. I built about 10 years ago, and I kind of learned the process back then. But I suppose the other thing that I'll note is that the process of building something now has come such a long way. Whereas in the past, you were kind of chasing up foremen, you were chasing up suppliers, you were trying to get the bank people to talk to the building people and all these the conveyancers, et cetera, in between. And that was all on you to do. Whereas now there are liaison people that are employed for that. There's online portals to check the progress of everything. And it's such a different time.
It's definitely like we've had a lot of good people in our court that have helped the process. Obviously, we're going to be a bit vague about specifics because ultimately it's going to be our house and we don't want people to know where it is. But yeah, we've had a lot of great people along the way help us and give us a lot of knowledge that without that, I don't think we would have even obtained land or anything like.
Oh, it's and I'm gonna say it. It's definitely a case of who you know. Yeah, because we've been super fortunate to know people. And I suppose this is karma, or you know what, things being paid back in kind. There are people that I've donated time and effort to that have then sort of come back and really helped out.
I think it's just, I mean, not even like, yes, it's who you know, but also it's how you treat people. Like, people have helped us because, you know, we try to treat everyone with kindness and respect, and it kind of comes back tenfold. And I think that's really important. Like if if something doesn't go your way and you abuse someone and call them a dickhead and stuff, then they're just going to be like, well, fuck you then. I guess we'll just sell your land to someone else. Like,
I mean, don't burn bridges. Don't burn bridges, but even build bridges where you can. That's I suppose the point of it there. Know people, be good to them, and good things will happen. So.
So at this point, so I guess just to reiterate, like that's kind of been a big stressor and why sometimes streams have been late because we've had to go to little meetings that popped up here and there. And obviously we couldn't really disclose that. But at this point, you know, we do have a bit of a timeline of when we need to leave. I think it's pretty ambitious to think that it's going to be built in time for us to move straight into. So we might have to have an in-between. Which, you know, will be a bit of a question mark for mostly FFP. We do have, it is lucky that our friends own this house, so that when they move back, we might have some leniency with, leaving the gym in its state for a bit until we can move that, because obviously that's gonna be tough to move into like a little rental. And also having 3 cats makes it a little bit complicated as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, there might be like a little interim where we need to find like a short-term Airbnb or something like that, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it, because there's so many unknowns that we don't know yet about timelines and stuff. So
correct. And so I suppose this is again another big reason why there's been a lot of work being done, because I suppose a lot of the finances have gone into the preparation for this sort of thing, and they will continue to. That's the reality of building a place as well, is that you're now going to be paying rent and paying a mortgage on parts of the stuff that you already own. So it's going to be tight for a bit. Do need to have deposits and stuff ready as well. So that's a big thing. So again, like a lot of the meetings and a lot of the things that have been happening have been to build relationships. And I suppose one of the reasons why you yourself were taken seriously as a streamer is because of the business relationships you have built. People can see that it's not just an ad hoc rely on donations kind of business now. It is an actual legitimate business. So
Yeah, I think that's, and I spoke about it a bit in my Q&A, I think that's kind of the difference between like a streamer and then like a small business owner who makes content. Like people that have maybe a background in business, and I studied business administration for a bit, so I'm not an expert, but I know enough to get by, and I know that I need to do my taxes, and then I need to file my BAS every quarter and all that kind of stuff, and I can do all that on my own. I think that helps be like a legitimate business, because you do have all the documentations that you need, and you can forward agreements and things that you have at a click of a button, and not be like, wait, what does that mean?
What is this? Yeah.
What do I need? What?
Yep.
So
and again, I think it's lessons learned from the past. I have been a business owner in the past, and now again running the fitness business. It's really important. It's really important to know how these things work. And I mean, we could begin another huge topic of discussion about the education system, and instead of teaching me how to teaching me what year a certain boat landed on a certain country, I should probably know how to do taxes, or how to open like an offset account for a mortgage or something like that. So yeah.
I'm actually like, I will give my school credit that we did have business studies that I did from grades 8 to 12. My business teacher was sick. Like a lot of what we did was like profit and loss statements and balancing and all that kind of stuff. Like it was probably more stuff you would do if you worked as like an admin person for a company, rather than like from like a personal tax standpoint, I suppose. But I mean, it kind of gave me the tools that I needed to then further that outside of just high school.
Yeah,
so I don't know. I loved business studies.
Oh, it's fine for that as well. But I suppose the issue that I run into is that I was prepped for the Fantastic Five, the English, maths 1 and 2, physics and chem. And so instead of me learning nice cool stuff like tax and income and all that sort of stuff, I was there learning how to do like 3 pages of Riemann sums manually for an integral calculus equations. Like, wow, okay,
that's a lot of words that I don't know the meaning of.
Handy. Yeah. and like I've never used it since, so but
you may be interested to know that the ATO has an education program for schools these days.
Cool. Nice. Cool. It has been a while since both of us have been to school, so there's probably some new stuff in there.
What did you call me, Joe? Would be a little young to learn tax yet as well.
Yeah, and see, this is the fun thing as well, is when I went to school, I had to buy a pocket calculator for school, and like you don't see them anymore anywhere, because everyone's nerd. Everyone's got laptops and things.
Did you have a pocket protector and your little pens as well?
I did.
Just,
I had 3 quad color pens.
Wow, fancy pants.
Yep.
No one ever used the green. You could barely read it.
I loved the green. I loved it.
I feel so much better.
Yep. The TI-84s are still being used. I had one of those. GTA. Oh, wow. Okay. And when if you had a graphing calculator.
Special key, did it play a little melody?
Oh, no. Mine didn't do
that's
that.
Fancy.
Oh dear. But yeah,
So
yeah.
we'll
So
do
that's
we'll do a house updates when we can. Obviously, now that it's out there.
yes. Yep.
I'm so relieved. I was so scared. I barely slept last night. I was so scared. I had the worst sleep of my life last night.
But look, we're talking about it now. So
yeah,
like you said, obviously, those of you that are out there that have half of a squishy brain with a few wrinkles in it, can obviously extrapolate from incomplete data. So like you said there, it's a bit of a personal life thing that's being revealed there.
Yeah.
So yeah, just do with that what you will.
Yeah, and I mean the hesitancy with that mostly was just because of previous experience, but yeah, we're good.
We good.
Yeah, it's very exciting, and it's like terrifying as well because it's a whole new venture for me. Like you've built a house, so you kind of get it, but yeah, for me it's so much unknown and spooky.
Spooky. You know what I'm so proud of? I'm proud of the fact that half of my chat is talking about calculators now. That's great.
Same. Yes, we're gonna have friggin' like fucking 8 things in each room with data points on each one of them. Like,
yeah. And this is where more things. Which if you appreciated my joke in Grace's Discord yesterday, you'll understand the fun here is that I'm starting to thinking about like layer 2 and layer 3 switching and routing now. So that's stuff that I'm nerding out about. Access points, where they're going to live, all that sort of jazz. So
Instead of stairs, there'll be a rock climbing wall and there'll be bouncy castle rooms. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, actually, I mean, I think the monkey bar rig and stuff, because I mean, it's no secret that my training's been a little off the rails the last couple of months. I mean, obviously that's a me problem, just with balance and timing and stuff. But yeah, I think having that space is really just going to like amp up the level of training that we can do from home as well.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, it is always a thing, and I'm guilty of it myself. Like you said there, I'm not training as much as I think I should be training. I don't even have to say it, and you know that I'm thinking it.
Yeah.
And even if it's like right here for me as well, it's sometimes just the fact that I've run out of room because I left stuff out from the night before, or I just don't have outdoor stuff to use as well. So it's going to open up a lot of opportunities for a lot of stuff there. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's the big piece of news. And it's just been like, the last couple of months has been real crunch time because obviously like big parts of the process are coming up. So it's really just been like heads down, work. And that's why I'm kind of just like, you know what, balance be damned. Doesn't matter right now. All that matters now is securing the finances for the house and, you know, just making sure that everything is in order and all the sponsors are happy and all that kind of thing. So yeah, that's been, it's been I mean, having that goal as well has given a lot of, I don't know the word, I can't word. Like it's just having that big goal has made it a lot easier to focus and be like, you know what, I'd love to relax right now, but now's not the time kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, long term, that's not a healthy mindset, but it's only for a couple of months like that. Or every single time I was like, fuck, I don't want to do this today. It's like, it's just a couple of months. Like it will be over eventually. So like everything else be damned. This is time to get shit done. So,
and I mean, it's not like because I've been doing a lot of your communications for you on a management level.
Yeah.
The one thing that I've found about it is it's being open about what's driving us and what's driving you and why it is we would request, you know, that certain deadlines be a couple of months in the future.
Yeah.
You'll find that when we're talking business, most people are actually really quite happy to accommodate those sorts of requests. Because they know that you're a solid resource to be using.
Yeah, it's not like I want this so I can go to, you know, Fiji for a weekend. It's like this is an investment for the rest of my life. So it's not, you know, it's not just gonna fade away. It's something that we're working towards, and I think it helped legitimize again, like us as a business and a partnership or entity, whatever you want to call it, like we're in this for the long term, and this is something that we want to invest to make the content better, both Fit for Purpose and myself.
And I mean, it also does open up for other opportunities. I think someone asked there if there was going to be like an FFP, FFG conglomeration. Look, that's definitely been on my mind as well, because it would open us up for opportunities like consultation. So you can imagine, like, I mean, people that would like some sort of just advice or an audit on, hey, look at my stream setup, what am I doing wrong? Cool, let's set up a consultation and let's actually do this properly.
I spoke about that briefly during the 12-hour stream as well. Like long term, obviously I just celebrated like 5 years as a partner, and maybe I'll make content for another 5 years or however long. After that, it's something that a lot of the like pro gamers will do. They'll have their few years in the limelight at the top of the charts and make their money, and then they'll move on to buying a team or being a coach or helping people with training and stuff like that.
Literally like what I've done. It's I've had my time, I've represented the country, I've etc. And now I'm coaching. So you do it and then you teach. Yeah, I
think that makes sense as well for me. Like no one wants to watch 40-year-old person. I'm not you're nearly 40, so I got to. Nobody wants to watch the same person for 20 years or whatever. So I think it would make sense. Wow, rude, Shiva. I think it would make sense to like, after gaining all of this really valuable knowledge of how to make it or whatever in this industry, I think, moving into like more of a coaching role. And that's kind of what bred the idea for the team as well, is, getting people in who are just getting started to kind of help mold them and help them along their journey, because it is tough on your own. Like there's thousands and thousands and thousands of people starting to stream every day. And how are you supposed to stand out amongst that? We do it by, being a part of a community and having people that give a shit about you and do want to see you succeed. Because, if you're starting at 0 followers and 0 viewers, like why would anyone find you? Like if they've already got people that they watch, why they're then going to go and watch you. So I think, I'd love to get the team to a point where, everyone on the team is like road sponsored, or, like get everyone together and create like this massive team where, everyone's a legitimate streamer. It'd be awesome.
Yeah, well, that's and again, this is all sorts of topics that we can use for future events. But when it comes to business, it's all about a fair exchange of value. Especially when you mention things like sponsors there as well. That stuff doesn't come for free. It's because they see value in what you're building as a creator, and they share the same sort of values with you as a creator. So it's pretty important that everything we do, especially with things like the house is being built now, it's being built with a purpose, and it's being built with the values of us creating a big, strong business. And I think that's why there's a lot of belief in what we're doing there.
The team just started as like a conglomeration of people that I could safely raid so that it wasn't like, I don't know if I want to raid that person because it could be like hell toxic. So like originally it was the FFG stream team. So it's kind of just like a handful of people that I was like, cool, I know you're there, you're online, I can raid you, and that's cool. And then obviously like I was finding it hard to grow that. And I think it was because it was under like my name, and I didn't ever want it to be like, an ego boost or anything, to be like, I'm the leader of the team.
Yeah. And I remember
my team. And I didn't. Yeah.
I recall the conversation I had with you, because that had been on my mind for a little bit.
Yeah.
And there were a few people that kind of dipped out of the team, and I feel like that was why that happened. So I remember the suggestion of, hey, look, let's, instead of it FFG stream, which is, it's fine because
around the block having a brainstorm.
Yeah.
Always working.
At the time, yeah, exactly. We were meant to be leisurely walking, but then we're just doing work stuff. But at the time, I remember thinking that it was a real quick and throw together team, because you had this you had a need for someone to raid after your streams. But I think now there was a need to actually grow and push the values. The values are exactly the same as they used to be. And now it's just it's making people feel like they're not under someone else's banner. It's giving them room to grow and room to bloom themselves.
I think it feels like people feel like they're working towards making the platform more tolerable, I suppose. Whereas before, it was like, being part of my team. And it's not really Like, I do appreciate that when you guys talk about it, you mentioned that I'm like the founder of it, but that's kind of, I appreciate that, but it's not super relevant. Like, it's more, you know, we are all equal and we're all the team. Like, it's not me anymore. And I really love, I think that the instant like change in vibes and just welcoming those few new people just reinvigorated it completely. Like, it's just, yeah, I love it so much.
I like so there is a process. I mean, we can chat a quick bit about the team as well. There is a process to become a part of the team.
I was going to change it to reflecting, because we're kind of just
reflecting. Sounds good. yeah, sounds good. So reflecting. So there is a process to become a part of a team, and I suppose I would strongly suggest people that do get denied, don't take that as a look, finished, over, poo-poo to those guys, see you later. It is a qualification check just to make sure that people are putting the right sort of values into why you're applying, but also putting a little bit of thought and effort into your application, because that is a really good indicator of how much thought and effort you're going to put into the persona that you're going to start to portray to the world under the team banner.
I mean, the way that I look at it, right, I think of it as like a triangle, and you kind of need to have 2 points of the triangle to kind of make it work. So either, you know, say the 3 points of the triangle. So the top one is like they're already, you know, an active member of the community, so that we know and kind of trust that they're a kind person, because, you know, people that are in the chat generally are okay, because they've been vetted over multiple months of interaction and stuff. So they tick that one, yes or no. And then another point of the triangle is like the quality of the stream. Is it, can I stand listening to it? Like, is it okay to listen to? How does it look? Like, you know, what does it look like, a fun vibe or whatever? Yes or no? Like, quality of stream, cool, nah. And then the third one would be the application. So if you have like a really, really, really weak application, but you tick the other 2 boxes, I'd be like, okay, maybe they, you know. And it kind of annoys me when people are already part of the community, and I think people think that means they're automatically in, and that kind of reflects in the application. I'm kind of like it just kind of feels a little bit entitled if people are like, oh, well, I've already, you know, I've been subscribed for 3 months, so that means I'm in. It's like, well, that's not really how it works.
Like, it shows too much ego. It shows that there's a laziness that's felt because you've already achieved something, kind of deal, which I mean, as we've just been speaking about, Grace and I don't think we ever take our foot off the accelerator. There's always a push. There's always more work to be done.
Yeah. So I guess like that's kind of the criteria that I'm looking at with an application. So if like a person has a really, really strong application, but their stream quality is not the best, but they're also like active within the community, I'd be like, yeah, sure. We can help you with the quality side. And because you've already kind of proved yourself that you give a shit and you've put time and thought into your application, almost like a job application, that's a big tick. And that shows that the attitude is right. You just need a little bit of help with the tech side of things, you know, getting the stream quality to a higher level. I mean, if you've got a super high quality and a great application, it's a no-brainer. I don't care if you're a sub to me or not. It's got nothing to do with your interaction with me. Like, as long as you seem like you're not a toxic person, obviously. Like, it's kind of hard. And we have had to adjust people in the team, because originally they seemed really like good vibes and positive and stuff. And then, you know, something major happens and I'm like, nope, that is unacceptable. See you later. So yeah, we can't be watching 24 hours a day. There's only so many of us, and the mods have helped out a bunch with that as well. Or another thing that mods do that people probably don't think about.
Don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, they help out a lot. And yeah, we can't be watching all the time. So we do rely on community involvement as well. So if you do ever see team members doing things that you think are against the ethos, please like tell a mod, tell us, so that we know, because we can't always be there. But yeah, that's the main 3 things that I'd be looking at. So if you have 2 of those things, sweet, like you're probably fine. And the people that have been denied, there was something in that. And we do send a rejection email being like, here are like 6 or 7 things that may have been applied to why you didn't make it into the team. If you want to, you know, reapply in a couple of months, sweet. We'll hopefully speak to you then, and maybe the changes will be made. If not, doesn't matter. It's fine.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. Yeah.
So yeah, that's a little insight into, I guess, like what we're looking for team equality. And last night was really cool because Road lovingly put up 3 complete studio kits for some of the new team members. We chose those people a few weeks ago, and they've started going out. Everyone's received them. And I stopped into Empress Jody's stream last night with her new mic, and the difference is just
it was
immense.
huge.
Like,
yeah, it was great.
Just a whole new experience. It was awesome because she was previously just using a headset mic. So it was just like, oh my God, the difference. Like I could just hear her so much more crispy. It's so good.
It's fun. It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was going to say as well, the fact that we do have that little team community as well. Sorry about the dog.
Doggo.
There's a dog walking by. There's a doggo walking past. Happy doggo. It's it means that because I know Empress Jody did have a few issues with the Rode AI one. If you do have questions about things, we can all lean on each other too. If there's issues with stuff there, so all sorted. Sounds great.
I mean, that's something as well. Like with Onslaught, like we tuned into his thing and we were like, there's something weird because when he was in Discord, he sounded awesome. When he was on stream, it sounded a bit whack. So we were like, hey, just maybe change a couple of things and then like that's the beauty of the team, is that we can all share that knowledge and experience that we have to help people make their stuff. Even just little tweaks make a massive difference and make content more digestible.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. So was there anything
got some good
else you wanted
brains
to
in the team too. Like Capo's really tech savvy as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So I suppose that's one thing to mention, I suppose, is that if other people in the team there as well, they are kind of like trusted. They do have a certain level of trust because you have let them in the team. So when you ask something like, hey, does my stream look okay? Or does this sound all right? Or someone gives you feedback, I'm more likely to actually take a team member's feedback and go, okay, you know what, that's probably really quite valid. So I'm going to take a look at this. And yeah.
So like, something looks weird in my OBS. Jeff, you're the only person I trust. Can you look at this? Does it look okay? Because you know how perfectionist. I mean, you and I are kind of on the same level. Like if we have just, tiny little bits, like tiny little screen tears or something, I'm like, nah, not good enough. Fix it.
Yeah.
Let's get it.
Yep.
Some of the mods I'm kind of trust, but some of you are like, fucking will. Oh yeah, that's good in 180p. Piss off. Trying to put out HD 1080p and 60 and you freaking watch it at 1080p. That's insane.
It just reminds me. I'm in a couple of funny little Facebook groups there. I've removed myself from the ones that annoy me, but there are some fun ones where people actually hack like small bits of technology to do different things. So they've got things like smartwatches playing Doom, and someone had a washing machine that was actually playing like a video on it as well. So that's cool. So yeah. Just watching Twitch on the back of a bloody pocket calculator. It looks fine in 160p.
Looks good. Looks fine with my monitor and headphones unplugged.
Oh dear.
Oh my God.
Love you, Will.
So happy that it's out there.
Yep, so you're good. Your posture's shifted. You're feeling a bit more loosey goosey now.
Yeah.
Perfect. Awesome. So there are other reflecting things. I mean, if you are familiar with.
Really gets redeemed posture check for 50,000 points.
That's a big spend. Yeah. If you are familiar with the previous pipe ups, we did have like a little bit of a layout where we'd talk about like pipe up picks and things. But I think because it's been such a long time and we have been holding this in like a big old hiccup or a sneeze.
Yeah.
Or it's more like a sneeze. It was kind of just sitting there.
Yeah.
It's slightly different. But I mean, we have touched and reflected on a few things. With the lockdowns, like you said, there's probably not a lot of new stuff going on. It really has been like a year and a half of a lot of Australia and a lot of the world being in lockdown.
Yeah.
And we've all kind of adjusted a little bit to the new normal.
Yeah.
But yeah, what else has been going on that's worth reflecting upon?
I mean, yeah, my existence over the last year and a half has just been, get up, stream, work out, eat, sleep.
Yep.
Like there are some things, we did something pretty major last week that we can't talk about yet, unfortunately. But yeah, there is a lot of cool shit still going on behind the scenes and a couple big announcements coming up. Hopefully they won't be too far along because obviously the lockdowns kind of ruined that. Originally there was meant to be a trip going to Sydney to do some stuff, but that kind of got shit on because of COVID. So yeah, it had to be reimagined and done locally. But that happened last week, and that was super positive. It was something kind of new for me, and I try to be really vague, but really excited about it, and can't wait to share that all with everybody once it's allowed to be out there.
Yep, awesome.
But yeah, I think mostly, the last year and a half has just been finding ways to improve content without, being able to be out and about and be traveling and doing events and stuff like that. And I think it's like it's kind of been a good experiment in a way, like trying to find new ways to make the content interesting while I can only be in, a house that I can't leave.
Yeah, that's fair.
And the new parts of the setup and stuff have helped with that. Like I'm really excited to do the reading streams soon, now that I've got all my fancy literature, and the new Aura screen is gonna be awesome for kind of setting a mood and having a cozy fireplace and dimming the lights and that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm excited to experiment with content a little bit more and get a bit creative.
Perfect. Yeah, I'm excited to play racing car games with you.
Hell yeah, that's gonna be so fun. Yeah, the 12-hour stream was, I think, really well timed because it was kind of leading up. Like this week's just been like a lot of emotions, ups and downs, and lots of hype and stuff. So it's cool, kind of wrapping up the week. We are thinking about doing a stream tomorrow, also. We can talk about that later, though.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Just it's been kind of cool, like wrapping the week up with this kind of little relaxed chat and filling you guys in on some things that we've been working on. So yeah,
that's very cool. So I suppose kind of topical on that in the lockdowns and stuff. A lot of people have been consuming content, as you know. Your business and my business in FFP have just exploded because people have more content appetite for consuming.
Yeah.
What sort of stuff we've been watching on Netflix? I want to talk about. That was one of the old pipe up picks there that we used to chat about.
So we finally watched Queen's Gambit after being so late to the party.
Yeah,
that was great. I really loved that. It was just so beautifully shot as well. Like the cinematography was stunning. Loved it. The actors there wasn't a single person in that cast that didn't nail their role. That was beautiful. We watched it in like 2 days, 3 days.
Yeah, just straight through.
Yeah.
The and I started looking into it because I think you mentioned it there is how they were able to construct the sets to make it look like here in 2020 it's something out of the 60s or the 70s. It's just fantastic.
We also just started Ted Lasso, which is on Apple TV.
Yep.
It's really funny.
Yep.
We just watched the end of season 1. Didn't realize season 2 doesn't come out till Friday. I was like, damn it.
Yeah.
Next episode, please. Oh.
So both of those are actually they're focused around activities that I wouldn't normally do a lot or I'm very good at. So chess and soccer.
Yeah.
But I feel like both of those were actually
Diamond Dogs.
Diamond Dogs.
Oh,
those were both actually filmed and written and presented in a way that it didn't matter. That I didn't really think much of foosball or chess.
What's funny as well? Like during the parts where it did show the games, I found myself invested. I'm like, get a goal, come on. I don't give a shit about soccer, but I was like, come on, come on,
I don't
boys.
understand what offside means, but you're offside. Like,
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I would recommend Ted Lasso. It's really good. It's funny.
Yeah. And even just the chess. Yeah. And the chess side of things too. It was like, I suppose without revealing too much of the story and spoiling it, it wasn't really about chess.
Nah.
It was more about
obsession.
Obsession, addiction, the strategies of life, and interpersonal relationships, those sorts of things.
Totally.
Which I think that's a good way of masking those sorts of potentially just boring topics. If I said, let's go watch a TV show about interpersonal relationships, like, whatever. But yeah, let's go watch a show about drinking and chess. Yeah, nice, cool. So yeah, they were really good. I enjoyed those, and I was quite happy that there's still like decent bits of content being able to be created and released, and people being creative with that.
Yeah. And
even in the latest episodes of Kim's Convenience, they obviously took a few little liberties with the social distancing there, and one of the cast members that was outside of it was filmed to be like just calling in over Zoom calls, etc.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that. Huh.
Yeah, and with what was it, the Mythic Quest?
Yeah,
how good was that?
Yeah, Mythic Quest was amazing. So if you don't have Apple TV, get a 7-day trial, binge Mythic Quest and Ted Lasso once season 2's out. If you don't want to pay for it.
Yeah, I mean, and they embraced what was going on in the world, and I think I mean, it's a comedy, but they did get real deep in some areas.
That's what I was like, I'm here to laugh. I'm not here to feel these feelings. Excuse me. Rude. Yeah, great cast. Like, it was really cool with Poppy as well because she's from Melbourne, so it was cool hearing like an Aussie accent in there. Yeah,
just Aussie accent and I suppose the realness of the development industry. Again, it's something that people wouldn't find super interesting, or it's not a sexy, it's not an amazing high adrenaline sport, but they've brought like the development industry into an entertaining light. So
if you have a PS5, you can get 6 months of Apple TV for free.
Oh,
there you go.
Nice. There you go.
Oh, I have to get
sweet.
that. I don't have that. I haven't done that. How do you claim it? I have to press start.
Press start. Yeah, they've posted it.
Yeah, and I think like as someone who's, obviously heavily invested in the gaming industry, like I think it really highlights, when you log into a game and you're like, there's bugs or there's an update. Freaking gosh. You kind of realize, obviously it's like satirical or whatever, but like there are people there are like big teams behind these games that when something does occur, like a bug comes up or, they have to push out an update, there's so many people that are working through the night to get this shit to us, and you're sitting there being like, where? My game is not working. Me. Like, you are a child, fucking play something else for a night. Like, it's just really, it really just puts into perspective, if you don't already like have exposure to that, I suppose, just like, if your game's not working, just fucking do something else. Just
really
don't complain about it. Don't send death threats to devs, please.
The cost that someone pays for a game, like even if it's $140 out of your wallet to pay a company of 200 people maybe 100 people, 200 people that need to be paid for their jobs and their time and their overtime.
Minimum fucking wage.
Just keep into perspective that when the next time you want to complain about comparing one game to another about the cost, like come on guys, really.
It's okay to be objective about things. Like if you have actual constructive criticism for something to help it improve, cool. Like if you have solutions to problems that may occur, awesome. But if you're just complaining for the sake of complaining, no one wants to hear it. Like you just look like an entitled little shit, basically.
Correct.
And it's the same with, like, not to talk too much about it, but the same with COVID. People want to complain about, lockdowns and all this kind of thing, and all the government's fucking, hiding things, and you don't know the real truth. Okay, then what is the solution? What is the real truth? Like, you're not actually providing any kind of helpful information to have a better outcome. You're just complaining. So just shut the fuck up. Like, if you're not going to actually give us anything to work with and anything that is, backed by research, sit down.
I was going to say, a lot of it is built on very shaky foundations as well. So just be wary. And this has really annoyed me over the past year. I've become super, I just really dislike the term do your own research and do your homework now, because researching is a skill. It's not something that anyone can do. And the problem is that unskilled researchers have done what they think is research and have basically taught themselves to believe something which is just built on completely shaky foundation.
And people don't know how to fact check something and understand if it is, peer reviewed or whatever. Like,
very, very influenceable people and they've been led to the wrong influences, unfortunately.
It's sad. I mean, when you think about it, people that go out and panic buy when new lockdowns come, it's all just built on fear and they're scared of what's going to happen. And so for that reason, I do kind of like find myself trying to be sympathetic to those people, but also it just becomes a lot when, people just, it's more likely for them to believe that the government's trying to put chips into you than it's just a vaccine so that we don't infect each other.
Yeah.
It's just, it seems like the world's become very cynical over the last 2 years.
It's also given, like the internet has given a lot of sociopathic and narcissistic people a platform. which is dangerous.
Yeah.
Because a lot of they're being let out unchecked, unfortunately.
Yeah. Even with peer reviewed, you got to double check sample sizes and methods. Absolutely. If you like the thing, like like not everyone knows how to do that. Not everyone knows how to do those like calculations and things.
There was a really good quote from Dr. Peter Attia, is one of the guys I listen to, who's actually released a podcast which is called I can't remember what it's called, but it's basically.
Is that the fasting guy?
Sorry?
Is that the fasting guy?
Yeah, that is the fasting guy. And so he's literally just doing science all the time. And he released a podcast called Analyzing Science, or Learning to Read Science, because he says we're not born with the innate ability to understand scientific studies. Like there are these big old papers that come out, and Will helped me on one episode of Pipe Up, where we FFP, where he came on and we read through a paper and we tried to take apart the different parts of a scientific journal, and people just don't know how to do that unless you're taught. And so he's started a podcast where he teaches people how to take the analysis of data and how to understand that. Because the first problem is that you can gather a whole bunch of data, and if your analysis of it is wrong, then you're gonna pull the wrong conclusions out of it.
Yeah.
And the second problem is that you can read someone else's analysis of data and not actually understand what that means. So there's a lot of stuff that goes into actual science. It's not just, okay, I've observed this, so it means this. It has to be observed a certain number of times. It has to be observed under certain conditions, repeatedly, and then it becomes something we can actually hang our hats on.
That reminds me of an experiment I did in like grade 7 or 8 or something. I think we had to I can't remember if we got to pick or why I chose rust, but I was doing a thing
iron oxide, Grace. Iron oxide.
Yep, I was doing a little what's it called, like a little poster thing about it, and I had to put some nails in different substances and see how they, rusted over the time. And my dad gave me these nails that had some kind of coating on them that stopped them from rusting. So they built up this weird shit on the outside of them, like this weird orange. It kind of looked like rust, but it didn't stick to it. It just kind of built up around the edge, and then I moved it and it all just dispersed in the water, and I was like, what the hell? So it kind of just made me think of that, because you could look at it and be like, that's a rusty nail. But if you touch it, it's just going to be like, oh, that's not a rusty nail.
No. Thanks for the galvanized iron.
Thanks, Dad.
Thanks, Dad.
Good job. I mean, it gave me something like interesting that was different, I suppose. Because no one else had galvanized nails. Because my dad was a plumber, so everything was galvanized.
Oh, God. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah,
you could have pivoted at that point and done your research on zinc.
I was like 10. I don't think I could have been able to brain that yet.
That's all good. Oh, that's cool. But the science things. I think we can leave that topic for the moment now, because I don't want to. Yeah.
I mean, it is something to note as well. That is something that Will is working on, in his field, is making, or trying to help people understand that science needs to be more digestible for the average Joe.
Yes. It's one of those things where when you are a scientist, it's like an engineer. The old saying is that if you're an engineer, it should be that 40% of your job is engineering and the other 60%, or even like an 80-20 split, 80% of your job should be documentation. So you can be out there doing things and fixing things, but if you're not documenting the process and documenting the changes that you do, then you're actually just leaving a time bomb for someone else later on down the track. It's kind of like
coding, right?
Yeah, exactly like coding. So coding, engineering, developing, and then science is the same, where, you know what, we can go out and do the fun stuff and make observations and do experiments, but if you're not actually writing up the documentation to go along with that afterwards, then you're not actually setting up a legacy to pass on to other scientists to peer review and check later on. And so that sometimes the documentation that gets built out of science is very succinct and to the point and very technical. We could spend a bit of time actually transcribing that and writing it into a fun little story that people would enjoy reading, but then that's taking away from my actual science time, isn't it? So that's where there should be some jobs in between where people are like what Will's saying, making the science digestible, and that's when hopefully we get some sort of science journalists or science writers that take the facts and then present that. So it's a little bit like Dr. Stephen Hawking's book, A Brief History of Time. So if anyone's read that, it is deep into physics. It's a fantastic read if you get a chance. But his daughter actually rewrote it for primary school kids.
Really?
So there was like, a brief history
Maybe
of
I
time
should read that one.
for kids. Yeah. So it's really, really good. And similar to Isaac Asimov, you can read something like Atom, which that's my claim to fame is I read through the whole of Atom on a bus trip to Kangaroo Island when I was about 12. But if it's not digestible, certain people are just not going to take it in, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's tricky. I was just thinking if we were going to jump back to like what we've been watching as well. That's pretty much it for the like show wise, but we also watched, because I didn't realize that I'd never watched the Saw movies, because they were like, they kind of came out when I was quite young. Or like I wasn't really into horror yet. Like it took me a while to build up the ability to watch horror to start with, and now I play like the most fucked games on the planet. But it took me a while. Like I remember my parents watching Ghost Ship when I was like 12, and I was like, I'm out. This is too spooky. I can't even handle the DVD menu. This is scary shit. This is ghosty noises. Nah, fam. I'm out. So yeah, I'd never watched the Saw movies. So we sat down and watched all of them apart from the last one, which was Spiral, I think. We haven't watched that one yet. But yeah, I was kind of never really thought much of them because people were like, past the second one, it's kind of shit. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess I won't bother. But I love them all. They were dope. They were just like, I don't know. It was really interesting. And it's kind of fucked how movies can make you, I wouldn't say I was sympathetic towards Jigsaw, but like I kind of, at some points I found myself kind of rooting for him. And I was kind of like, I don't want to spoil it if you haven't seen it, but I was kind of like sad about certain parts of it. And I was like, I kind of want, like, I get what he's doing. It's a really fucked up way of doing it. But there were points where I was kind of like, I kind of see what he's trying to achieve and I kind of want him to succeed. But also he's like torturing people. So it's kind of fucked. Like, it's so weird how they can get into your head like that.
Yeah, it's good writing.
It's great writing.
So the writing has don't apologize, chat. It's all good. So the writing has been able to pivot you from hating the villain to loving the villain to hating the villain, et cetera, et cetera. So that's always a good thing.
You saw.
That's it. Yep. So no, it's that was really good. And what other things?
I just love that it's also made by Aussie directors, producers.
That's what I was going to say. The writers, so James Wan and 1L. James 1L? Yeah. So one of them came off of Recovery. If you're old enough and you've got as many grey hairs as me, you'll remember ABC's Recovery, the Saturday morning show. Lee 1L, that was his name. So Lee 1L, who was the reporter,
chained
the music. He was also in the movie. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. But yeah, if you haven't seen the Saw series, I know a lot of people will poop on it and say it's no good, but it's a fantastic watch. It's good. Yeah.
We're also I've got like 2 episodes left of Evangelion.
Yeah. So that's deep. That one's deep. What are you thinking of it so far?
I like it. I mean, we watch it late, so I fall asleep. And because I start to get behind in the subtitles, I'm like, I know I'm slipping into sleep right now. And then I got to go back and watch it again because it's hard to watch subtitled stuff because, I mean, jumping back to what we were talking about earlier, like busy, always working to some degree. So it's like I will be watching, Ted Lasso, but I'm also like doing emails or getting
typing or something,
people's emails for giveaways and shit like that. There's always so much behind the scenes stuff that we have to do or whatever. So yeah, I do struggle to consume things with subtitles because I need to be 100% focused on it, and I'm really 100% focused on anything.
That's it. So that is the downside. You should probably just spend some more time learning Japanese so you don't have to read the subtitles.
I know. Yeah, that's a good thing. I need to get back into it. I can like understand the sounds and the alphabet and everything, but then learning what each word means is like so much. And then all the kanji and everything is so much.
There's a lot. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like 3 alphabets. It's too many alphabets.
Yep.
Did you want to talk about anything fitness wise?
I suppose we're halfway through the year and we've successfully finished 2 FFP challenges, which in total makes 7. That was season 7 that we just finished.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. If we harp back to the last episode of Pipe Up, we did do a goal setting challenge for all of us. And my goal for the year was actually, I didn't have anything personally about, lifting 200 kilos or doing anything like that. My goal was to actually run 4 challenges for the year of 2021. So halfway through the year, and we've done 2.
Nice.
I'm on track. Yep, on track. So I
good.
am seriously thinking about the next challenge, which we're starting up. Again, this rolls back to me trying to keep things interesting and trying to not rehash old content, because I've now gone 5 out of the 7 challenges have been completely body weight.
Yeah,
and so
it's hard because you try to be inclusive with it being body weight so everyone can do it, but then it does limit how unique they can be.
Correct. And then also like you said, trying to include as many people with their abilities as well. So their how much they can lift, how much they can throw around, how much time they have, etc., etc. So that's the fun bit. I suppose being set up here now, I can actually record a bunch more content for that. So if you've ever done the backpack workouts with me, you'll see the red shirt guy, Jeff, as opposed to the blue shirt guy. So that's all set up, ready to go. But yeah, that's next on the cards. So there are some people that are finishing off the 7th challenge now because things happened and I've just reset them for them.
Yep.
But after that, there's also a bunch of people. Actually, I didn't mention this to you, Grace, but I did have a gridiron guy.
Oh, nice.
Literally the day before the lockdowns came in, he locked in with me the next 6 weeks worth of training sessions.
Oh, wow.
But now that's sort of out the window.
Oh, like a local physical client.
Local.
Oh,
yep,
shit.
Yep, physical guy.
Oh, damn.
So yeah, he plays gridiron here in South Australia.
Yep.
So that's going to continue anyway. After when we can.
Yep.
That's a thing. But yeah.
Nice.
So FFP is just pushing on.
Yeah.
In terms of fitness for everyone, I suppose make sure you're following the local lockdown laws. I understand that we're getting frustrated by the laws, but don't be a smartass about them, I suppose is my advice. If you need to wear a mask somewhere, just put the bloody mask on.
Over your nose, please.
Over your nose, please.
Over your mouth and over your nose.
Like the whole point of this is to stop the spread of a disease. It's not to personally attack you as a person. So, make sure you're doing what you can. And if you are feeling like you're, I suppose, you just need a break from staring at the same walls. You are allowed to, in most cases, leave your house and exercise in the local 2.5 kilometer radius, which if you do know anything about maths, you can actually come up with an infinite number of routes around a 2.5 kilometer radius circle. You can actually just fill that circle with lines if you were to GPS track the whole thing. So there are ways to do certain things and ways to do them safely as well. So that's what I would be encouraging there.
Yeah.
So if you are thinking about I suppose
don't jump
signing up.
Spencer's.
Don't jump in. Yeah. So I will be doing the next challenge soon.
Yeah.
I do want to put a lot more thought into this one about creating like completely new layouts and new ways to deliver workouts, which people that have done 7 seasons previous aren't going to go, oh look, I've done that workout before. Kind of thing. So yeah.
Cool. Sounds good. It's been cool seeing, like, have you found, like, your in-person clients, obviously you can't since lockdown started, but have you had, like, noticeable progress or any big PBs lately with the people that you have been training in person?
Yeah. So there's been massive gains in terms of strength. Now, this was one of the things that we'd mentioned before lockdowns as well, is that I did want to start a nutritionist course, and this was also before the whole house.
I was going to say, then we decided finances needed to be funneled to a very specific point.
Correct. So instead of spending the finances on me getting nutrition qualified, we did funnel them into the investment into the future in terms of property.
Yeah.
So I'm not nutritionally certified yet, and I feel like that is the piece that's letting my my part down. It was a really good, actually, Yulia in chat, who's watching on my side there. I jumped into your stream the other day, and you made a really good distinction between a trainer and a coach, where a trainer is literally someone that can just deliver a physical routine. You can do some exercises, make sure your form's correct. That's awesome. So that's the trainer. When someone becomes a coach, it's because they're actually reaching out to you for advice on other parts of their life as well, where they're now talking about the values that you carry as a person and how you can apply them to training as well. So a lot of people do call me coach. A lot of people that I train online there, they actually say, "Hey, coach, how you going?" And I never asked them to do that. I never said, "Hey, I am your coach." They've just started calling me coach, and that kind of hit true the other day when Yulia explained the difference between the two. And I'm like, okay, I'm now sort of seeping into the other parts of people's lives. It's not just it's the mentor role now, as opposed to just here's a workout.
Yeah.
Okay, your back looks good. Engage your glutes. All's well. So
do you think there'd be any kind of like other study that you would do to help that? Like, I mean, not doing
so that's
psychology
literally what I was
but...
thinking. No, the nutrition is the next big piece.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing that I find with my clients now is that they're all getting faster, stronger. Like their performance metrics are fantastic, but the one thing that lets us down is when they do look at the scales and the body fat percentages. The weights aren't really dropping, and their girth measurements aren't 100% where they would like them to be. And the only thing that's letting them down is the nutrition. And it's literally their nutrition.
My mind went
and
somewhere else.
Sorry. Okay, you'll have to tell me later. The nutrition is the only thing letting them down, and as much as you know what, I can say, just go count your calories, and this is what you should be doing. I'm not qualified to be giving out meal plans, and so it would be unethical of me to write them a meal plan and say this is what you need to stick to.
Even though you definitely have the
I definitely could.
And you could, but from an ethical standpoint and a morality, you're not qualified, so therefore you shouldn't. So also bear that in mind. Twitch viewers, people listening to this, if there is someone who's speaking in a way that they are an expert, just fact check their qualifications, because you probably find that a lot of people that are out there dishing out advice aren't a psychologist or a nutritionist or a trainer, or, they don't have the necessary qualifications to be giving you that advice. So just
always I say this as well, like, even though I'm giving out qualified advice, always get second and third opinions 100%. On everything. Because someone will often be doing something to sell a product, and which sometimes it's great. I mean, like you or I, Grace, we're sponsored by different companies, and we will promote a message so that we can continue to be sponsored. But you and I also have a really good set of ethics that won't allow ourselves to spruik a message that we believe isn't true. So exactly. No bro science. We're not going to push out that sort of stuff. And we're gonna abide by a certain set of ethics. So I suppose the next thing on your question there, Grace, was what else would there be to become educated on to help broaden me as a coach, as a mentor? So nutrition will be number one. The next piece would be some sort of without going to university, the next logical step for someone like me is actually to get a postgraduate degree. Which is easier in my case because I already have a couple of degrees. But if I didn't, I would have to actually go do a degree in something to then get postgraduate in exercise science. Right. So that would be the next thing, a huge time investment. And again, I only just paid off my HEX bill last year. I'd have to get another HEX debt as well. So that would be psychology is a good one.
Yeah, I was gonna say, to be like a life coach, I suppose, like what. So that you could cover like all facets of life in general, which is obviously very broad. Like, what would you look at?
There are lots of actual life coach courses to take. I personally, that's kind of left a foul taste in my mouth, the life coach thing, because there have been two business ventures that I have not invested a lot into, thankfully. That were run by two self-proclaimed and qualified life coaches. I just did the quotations in the air there. You can't see my face, but quote self-proclaimed life coaches, and really they haven't been good at their jobs. They haven't been good at their qualifications. And I would not wish upon my worst enemy the coaching of these people. So I'm very I suppose it's a little bit like the word influencer.
Mm-hmm.
For me, the term life coach has been sullied, has been tainted. So I would much prefer to do the psychology, or even just do those courses, but not tout myself as a life coach. It would be more for my own benefit of speaking to people. And I think that's one thing that FFP has done as well. I've never really advertised. I've never really pushed advertising out onto external channels. All of the clients that I've had that have rocked up to my door and that I've trained from here, and most of the people that have joined in with the FFP challenges, they've all come from word of mouth of people that have worked with me in the past. Mm-hmm. So I would probably prefer to do the life coaching and the psychology, help the people that I'm currently working with, and have those people, I suppose, send out the good word themselves. As opposed to me going, hey everyone, I'm a life coach, so come study with me, sort of thing. So
subscribe to my life program for a low price of $69.99 per month, and you become wealthy in all aspects of life.
I've got the secret. The secret.
Secret manifestation. This is not a coincidence.
Vision boards. Vision boards.
Yeah.
Yep.
Jeff the life improver. $69 a month.
Oh, that's nice. Nice. Yep. So that would be it. Learning more about that. So, so other content. You've been doing some Audible book reading, book listening.
Yeah, I've been trying to. I don't know. I just feel like because the only thing that I've really been consuming is Twitch chat, and I feel like my brain's becoming very mushy. So I'm trying to be like more accountable and do more learning or more listening, I suppose. I really don't like self-helpy stuff. Like I've tried to listen to a few of them and I'm just like, it just seems really like self-righteous, and I just don't really like. I just obviously haven't found the right one yet, but I don't really go for the self-help stuff. I just really like getting lost in like a story, and I had never consumed like the old horror literature, so I started listening to. I bought a horror collection on Audible that is 48 hours long, and it's
a lot of horror.
It's a lot of horror. So at the moment, I'm listening to Dracula. I'm up to like chapter 12, I think, because I never read it. Obviously, being a youngin and not a really avid reader, I really struggle. I'm really slow at reading, but I'm consume things much better in Audible form. So that's another reason why like it was kind of a no-brainer to me to do the Audible commercial, because I love Audible. So yeah, been listening to that, and that's been really fun, and that kind of is what it like made me think about buying the other books as well. So I've got the collections of Edgar Allan Poe, I've got H.P. Lovecraft on the way, and Dracula, and other horror collections to do some of my own like Audible streams, so that I can kind of get in the zone and cosplay and have a cool vibe in the room and do my own Audible versions, because I really love, like I've done one before when the PC had problems and I had to find something that I could do that wasn't gaming. So we did one of those and people really liked it. I think it was just like a fun vibe, and it's something that people can go back and listen to if they, if I'm not streaming and they want to go consume something. I think the reading stream's really cool. So also in the collection that I bought, there's like Call of Cthulhu, Jekyll and Hyde, Frankenstein, all that kind of stuff. So
classics, absolute classics.
If you read it when it was new and you're still around, you might be a vampire. True. True.
Now you haven't seen the movie adaptation of Bram Stoker's Dracula, have you?
No.
Actually came out in 1993, so you probably wasn't.
I was
part
one.
Of your prime viewing. Yeah.
There's a good 3-part Dracula miniseries on Netflix as well. Ooh, okay.
Oh, that's cool.
Cool.
That was a really good film, Rockamummy. I enjoyed it immensely. It's a Keanu Reeves classic. If you haven't seen it.
Oh, cool. Is he Dracula?
No.
Is
he
he's John?
Jonathan.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
Cool.
and Winona Ryder is Mina.
Who's Dracula?
What's his face? Gary Oldman. Gary Oldman.
Really? Ooh,
Is it Gary Oldman? Just wait. Is that the right name? I'm not good with actors and names.
Dracula movie cast.
You googling it?
Yeah. Yeah, Gary Oldman.
Yeah.
Dope.
Nice. Yeah, it's
Anthony
a great
Hopkins.
Film. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
We got tonight's viewing sorted.
Sick.
In the bag. Yeah.
I mean, Keanu is a vampire, just not in the film. Accurate.
Yeah.
Dude does not age.
Yeah, it's a great film. I love it.
Yeah, right.
Actually, I don't know if you should watch it yet.
Yes,
if
I should finish the book first. Yeah,
finish the book first, and then we'll watch it. And it was a very good adaptation.
I mean, I think I can figure out what happens, but also I'll listen to it first.
Yes.
The Hugh Jackman Van Helsing. I loved that. I love that movie. I don't know if it was bad, but I loved it because I love Hugh Jackman.
You know what I unashamedly loved?
What's that? Abraham Lincoln Zombie Hunter.
Vampire Hunter.
I was joking. Was it actually good?
I loved it.
Oh my God, I was kidding. I just thought that was the vibe. That's so funny. Oh, that's great.
Yep. Oh, that's good.
You turned it up after 10 minutes? Oh no. I should watch it. That seems funny. It'd just be like a dumb fun watch.
Yeah.
What was the one I did
is.
for Netflix? The zombie one. I forgot the name.
Army of the Dead?
Yeah, it's just like a dumb fun viewing, you know.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a good movie. I liked it. It got a lot of hate, but I had fun watching it.
Yeah.
Sponsorship or no sponsorship, it was fun to watch.
Oh, nice. So yeah, I think that covers a lot of what we've been doing.
It has been 90 minutes, by the way.
Sorry?
It has been 90 minutes.
90 minutes chat so far.
Yep.
I continually am paying the hosting fees for our other podcasts, so I forget what the maximum length needs to be, but we haven't done one for a few months, so I think we're fine to just upload as much as we need to.
The first one we did was like 2.5 hours, I think, but then I think it was like 90 minutes was kind of the sweet spot.
Yeah.
For uploads if we were doing it weekly, but I think it's fine. If we have more we want to cover. Yeah. Have you watched I, Frankenstein?
I don't think I have. No, I'm not sure if I have.
I'm down.
You down?
The hard part is like, especially when you're trying to consume older stuff, is like finding a platform that still has it.
Correct.
Without
the tough
breaking the law.
Yes. Yeah, we the tough part, but we can check it out.
That was the Saw movies were easy enough to find. I think we had to hire them on Prime. They were like $2 or $3 each or something like that. But the newest one, Spiral, which we haven't watched yet, that was like $30 to rent. So we're like, we'll just wait until it's a little bit older and we can get it a bit cheaper. Which is silly because you go to the movies and spend $80 in gold class, no worries. But when you've got a whole library of content to watch for free at home or for your subscription at home, it's kind of like, I don't want to pay extra.
Yeah. It's just the perception, isn't it?
It's on Netflix. Excellent.
Oh, cool. Perfect.
So I think that's a good point to conclude the podcast portion of the stream. So we covered it all. We talked about it all. We'll give you guys updates when we can.
Yes.
And obviously, I mean, I don't think I need to tell any of you because you all seem to have your head screwed on pretty well. But obviously, the house is going to be a private place, and there are going to be things that we're not going to share with the world. So, don't expect to see a photo of us on the slab showing the location and shit like that. It's not going to happen. But yeah, what we can share and what we feel comfortable sharing, we will. And I think you all kind of understand to respect privacy and all that kind of stuff. So I don't think I need to tell the good viewers that. But,
the good ones of you here.
Yeah. Good eggs.
Yeah.
So we'll pipe up here. Hopefully it'll be not 7 months in between. Hopefully it's a bit sooner. Anything else you wanna reflect on?
I just don't know what color walls your office is gonna have.
Oh my God. The blackest of blacks, so there's no light reflection or refraction whatsoever.
Nothing. Yeah.
So if you are here live, stick around. We're going to pivot to Cuphead. If you are listening on any of the streaming platforms or watching on YouTube, Pipe Up Podcast is going to end here for today.
Thanks for listening.
Thank you for listening. Hopefully we'll see you again soon. Don't forget to wave.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.